You might have heard from impact investment, a new source of capital that you might use to increase the impact of your organization. Investors that are using this kind of capital are aiming for both, having financial return and positive impact on society. Okay, this sounds positive, but are you prepared for this kind of capital, and is your organization at all suitable for this kind of capital? To answer these questions, imagine a long staircase. When climbing these stairs, you start a marathon, and this is why you need preparation. The INSEMA framework can help you in this preparation. INSEMA means investment readiness, signing readiness, and market readiness. The INSEMA framework supports you to systematically reflect on all phases of the stairs, and this helps you to be more efficient and effective to search for the investments that you need.
Investment readiness. The first phase is about preparing to approach impact investors. In Step 1, you define your organization's reason for existence by addressing the question of how you approach the social problem you wish to tackle, and how this leads to improvements. Experts often call this the theory of change. In Step 2, you create a method to analyze and measure your organization's impact on society. Step 3 is centered on financing. Here you identify specifically how your activities are financed through two basic sources: income and investment. This enables you to understand how your organization has been financed up to now. It also allows you to determine whether your organization will be attractive to potential investors once you decide to scale your impact. In Step 4, you focus on the business part, the products and services you provide to different target groups. You investigate how your income streams and cost structures will evolve over time. This leads directly to Step 5, during which you focus on investment readiness. This helps you to create transparency and align yourself with investors' expectations. Investment readiness is like a systematic X-ray of your entire organization that reveals its strongest and weakest points. Signing readiness. The second phase addresses how to prepare to access investors, master the investment process, and finally, sign contracts with impact investors. Step 6 is about selecting the right financing instrument for your organization. There are more options than simply securing equity or taking out a loan. A clear idea of the most appropriate financing instruments for your business is also relevant to Step 7, during which you identify potential investors. In order to get a handle on who is active in the relevant sectors of your region, it is helpful to screen the landscape and put together a long list of potential investors. Who provides the type of funding your organization needs? What are the preconditions and application processes? Research is the cornerstone of this step. Carefully selecting investors with the greatest potential to be a match can save significant time and energy that would otherwise be spent repeating tasks that have unclear results. In Step 8, you prepare a pitch deck through which you will approach the investors you have selected. In this step, you learn how to tell your impact story in a way that convinces investors to look more closely at what you do. In Step 9, you focus on meetings with potential investors, during which you will present your organization and your plans to scale. While you will typically be interacting with individual investors in a private setting, you may also decide to participate in open competitions or make a pitch at an investor conference. In any case, be ready to confront some tough questions. This is when your preparations finally pay off. If an impact investor likes what he or she hears, you will continue to Step 10. Step 10 deals with due diligence. Due diligence is a method that investors use to analyze your organization before signing a contract. During this process, you might find that you're haunted by many of the investment readiness issues you discovered during Step 5. It's great that you will already know the answers and will be prepared to present them without hesitation. True, filling out investor questionnaires and having long conversations with potential investors will absorb a lot of your time. The flip side, however, is that you will have a first-hand impression of which investors would make great partners. This will enable you to narrow down your list, which is the goal of Step 10. In Step 11, several aspects guide your choice to either include or exclude each of the potential investors on your short list. Factors such as the amount of potential investment, the people the investor can potentially introduce to you, the investor's values and norms, and, last but not least, your chemistry with the investor will guide you. In Step 12, you engage in discussions regarding the main terms and conditions of the financing. Once you have reached an agreement with the investor, you're just inches away from the first goal. Step 13 is signing the contract. Congratulations, you made it! Almost. Once the money arrives, some entrepreneurs think they've already crossed the finish line. This is far from true. It is only the beginning of a long-term cooperation with investors. Depending on the investor, he or she will become involved with your organization on some level and will inject his or her needs and expectations. Thus, before signing the contract, you should align the investor's expectations with your own. Then, you enter the third phase, market readiness. Whatever your plans are, you'll likely need additional investments in the future. This is why you must position your organization in the investment market. Step 14 tackles the subject of investor relations. How often you meet with investors in person will depend on factors such as individual preferences, whether or not they're a part of your advisory board, and, often, the type of financing they provide. It could be highly valuable, for example, to engage your investors in projects, as they may provide important expertise or contacts you don't have. Step 15 deals with the fact that impact investors will expect you to monitor both financial and social environmental performance. Setting up a monitoring and reporting system serves the needs of investors, but also yourself. In Step 16, you tackle another major challenge, mission drift. This challenge happens when the investor intends to change your mission into a more profit-oriented one, potentially weakening the organization's social impact. Staying true to your mission often means resisting this type of pressure from investors and even your own employees, partners, or directors. When scaling your organization, you will inevitably arrive at junctions that offer several paths. Which should you take? These decisions will affect the next round of financing, addressed in Step 17. In Step 17, you deal with the future, laying the foundations for the next round of investments. Down the road, your investors may want to sell their shares of your organization to a buyer who doesn't support your social mission. In light of these risks, you identify ways that you can preserve your social mission in the long run, regardless of who owns the organization. Finally, in Step 18, you can complement the plans laid out in Step 17 with a responsible exit strategy.
You now achieve the finish line of the marathon that passes through all three phases: the investment readiness, the signing readiness, and the market readiness. Are you excited or exhausted? Whatever you are, we hope that the INSEMA Readiness Framework will help you, that you get the money that you need to increase the impact of your organization.